Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry for the delay, but we're back and we are ready to kick things off here on Busan in Mecha Base Morningstars versus Dreadlords. And to remind you of the stakes, Dreadlords, they've got to get that W here today if they really want to up their chances of securing that Contenders slot. Kenobi, what do we think? What do we got to look forward to in this match?
I think, again, like what we were talking about, is we're probably going to see mostly the Genji poke. This match, specifically on Mecha Base, would be the one time where I think we could possibly see something like the rush compositions, but based on what everyone is holding out right now, it looks more poke-esque from both of them. The only difference, Phil, is that we are going to have the Mei from Morningstars instead of the Genji, so we're going to try and use those walls to circumvent around what the Genji wants.
Looks like the Morningstars were expecting to meet the Dreadlords coming towards them. Instead, it is a big old rotation across the high ground of the two teams now sniping at each other from across the distance. Of course, Fëanor's going to really want to close the gap to capitalize on those halt and dash combos, but he's not going to get the chances. Q takes them down first off in the fight. That's first blood over the Morningstars. Can they convert that into a win? That is a ridiculously early amplification matrix out from Source, and it's allowed Taz to get the equalizer, taking Adnor out of the fight. And we should be getting Fëanor back into this fairly shortly, but for now, with the point still not unlocked, we're looking for maybe another kill on the board, which Fëanor on his return, but geez, we've got the bucks in as well. Looks like the kills here might be going for Dreadlords.
That was a fight and a half of Overwatch that we just saw there, Phil. I mean, a ridiculously fast amplification matrix from Sauce, and then a really fast gravitic flux from Q as well. But none of it ends up mattering for Morningstars as they lose with the gravitic flux advantage, and now Dreadlords is in a position where they have a pretty hefty advantage. Cloud is going to have the rally. Adnar very far away from this, so sustain in the favor of Dreadlords.
Application matrix to start things out, and Cookie puts it to good use, taking Arca out of the fight, who very nearly had the Bob ready to go. Cookie with the second task now down. Adnar finds Fëanor, and just on the back of that one application matrix from Cubus, they flip this incredibly quickly, Kenobi.
I mean, even if you do have the advantage with the rally, like I said, it doesn't matter if someone on the other side has that window and just bursts you down before the rally can really stack up the armor onto you. So good heads-up play from Morningstars at the start of that. But we have a lot of check marks on the field right now, Phil. That means that the next fight probably going to have a lot of particle effects coming down. Biggest one, I think, is the Blade coming out from Fëanor. We'll see what they can do. It's one of the most important ultimates in the meta right now.
Yeah, won't have the supercharger to go with it just yet, so maybe we see a bit of a dry push here from Dreadlords to get that on the field, because of course they are going to have to go through Adnor's rally armor at some point soon. And I'm looking at these check marks and thinking, really, Morningstars have got a couple of win conditions here. That's going to be the Blizzard out and Pure Irish taken out, Frozen focused down, and with the off tank taken out of the fight, Dreadlords probably not going to want to take this too much further. Bit of aggression from Morningstars, and we get the Bob out from Arca as well. Gravitic Flux. Fëanor goes down in the middle of the blade. Kookaburra able to take him out. We'll see Kookaburra's Bob taken out here as well. It's going to go to Pure Irish to try and find something, anything with this Flux, and he comes up in a big way. There's the double, and Dreadlords able to surge their way back to the choke and look to try and retake this point. Pure Irish is going to go down here, so Morningstars not giving this up without a fight. Starting to look like the numbers are there for the Dreadlords to win this fight.
Dreadlords finally are going to take his fill, but all things considered for Morningstars, a pretty decent stall for them. They got it all the way to about that 68% mark and forced out a lot of ultimate from Dreadlords, all things considered, and they're not done stalling.
Wow, well, it looks like they weren't quite able to get that out, but it did trigger Cloud's rally, so they're not going to have that in the next fight. So these cleanup kills here, not really doing too much for the Dreadlords in terms of economy.
Yeah, Dreadlords' economy right now is pretty much in shambles, all things considered. There, Phil. I mean, if you look at across the board, tank ultimates aren't going to be anywhere near as close, and with the percentage ticking up and the point that it is now, Dreadlords might not even get another chance to have another ultimate rotation, so Morningstars much in the advantage right here as we come to this next fight.
Another amplification matrix. It went really well for them last time, and Kookaburra was going to lead off with the Bob here as well. Looks like we didn't get too much presence there from the Bob. And Dreadlords able to just kite their way away from a lot of that incoming damage. They're going to have to move to the point at some point. Otherwise, this is going to flip right back over to Morningstars, who now have the point, and they've got the big defensive advantage. No ults available here for the Dreadlords except the amplification matrix.
This amplification matrix has to be huge here from Sauce. It's on the high ground.
Yeah, it gives them the angle down, but it looks like Morningstar is able to make themselves scarce. Can't find any value with that amplification matrix. See if the Bob can find any more value as Arca sends him running into the backline, and it'll cause enough chaos for Task to be able to do the damage in. Now both supports are off the table for Morningstars, and it is a big opening for Dreadlords. Shikari going down, a scant few percent from the Blizzard is a huge pick here. It's 99 to 72, and Dreadlords look posed to take the flip. Last fight territory, Kenobi.
It is going to be the last fight that we're going to have here, Phil. And the thing that is most important that you have to look out for are the ultimates from the Morningstars. Again, they have the advantage with the rally. They can play in very aggressively. Blizzard as well. Dreadlords has to play so carefully around all of these ultimates from Morningstars or they're going to lose Mecha Base.
And they've got the rally to start things off, which means that Feanor can't really get too much done with that Dragon Strike. Will dash his way out of the Gravitic Flux, so that's one ult committed already. That didn't go too well for them, but Shikari is able to find Arca, and they get the flip. It's 99 to 97, with the Blizzard on the point here as well. So hard for Feanor to get anywhere close enough to make anything happen with this play, and Morningstars looking set to take the first point on Busan.
Too many ultimates from Morningstars for Dreadlords to deal with, and it's going to be Morningstars taking this sub-map, Phil, after just a few more stragglers get on this point. It's just a lonely Tracer. Arca can't do much. Task is going to come here. Shouldn't really matter too much.
No, it was a valiant attempt at a stall, but there's really only so much you can do when there are 6 of the enemy team to your 1, whatever the heck you're running to stall the points out.
And the thing that was weird for me, that entire sub-map, was just the throwing away of ultimate economy. I think in a lot of those fights where it was like Dreadlords was throwing all their ultimates in very expensive fights, not getting value. Same with Morningstars, did it a little bit too often as well. But Morningstars did it a lot less, which was the thing that I think won them that sub-map at least. And for Dreadlords, a little bit scary coming out from them on that first map. This, like we said, was a match that we should have seen them win relatively easily. But right now, off that first sub-map, looking a little bit shaky. Maybe the nerves getting to Dreadlords slightly.
It's looking a little scary for us as well, Kenobi. We were talking how this is eminently winnable for the Dreadlords, and we may have to eat crow here if Morningstars keep performing like this. But as we move into Sanctuary, we've got the full-on mirror matchup this time.
So no differences, no maze, just mirror versus mirror. So I'm going to be looking out for, Phil, these Genji players between Feanor and Shikari. Who's going to get that blade first? Who's going to get the most amount of value from those halts, from those dashes? To see what happens.
Looks to get a slightly more impactful TNT out for Kukabao. 30% of the way to that bubble already, and Adnor is able to find Task, and with the main tank down, the rest of Dreadlords just crumble around them like so much cheap cracker.
And you can already see, like when I was talking about before, the Genji blade difference right now for Shikari. He's at 75%, Feanor only at 50%. So in this next fight, Shikari is going to have that Dragon Blade. And as we know, Phil, Dragon Blade, one of those abilities and one of those ultimates that, if used correctly, can just win you fights by itself. And then you can continue to circulate the rest of your ultimate economy alongside of it. So Morningstar's in the driver's seat completely here against Dreadlords.
That's right, Dreadlord's going to be looking to do something in the neutral here before that gets on board. Won't quite get the TNT combo with the Hulk, thanks to an excellent shield coming out from WeQ, who is getting very close to having this Flux online and ready to go as we round the 1/3 capture mode. Arca now on the high ground with the amplification matrix. Morningstars doing a great job of getting out of the way of that incoming damage, and a lot of that absorbed by WeQ. And now there are retaliatory ults available for the Morningstars. Going to round things out with the amplification matrix. Flux as well, only able to get 2, and just getting that immortality field down in time. But now that it's gone, Shikari can pull out the sword and start to slice and dice. Arca takes him down mid. Oh, we will see kills starting to come through from Kukabao, though. Finds 1 with the primary fire, 1 with the Bob, a second onto Arca, and we're rounding 70% here, and Morningstars still in control now.
They're still in control, but Phil, unfortunately for them, their ultimate economy, very expensive fight in that last fight. They used a lot of stuff. They are not going to have a lot of it for this next fight, which Dreadlords, if you look at their ultimate economy, much more in favor for them. The way that they win this is off of the back of a really clutch play. Cookie has to get this supercharger in time if they want to even have a chance to win this fight. If I were them, I would just try and force out some ultimates and then just take the fight loss.
Here's how things start out, though. Cloud popping the rally buys a little more confidence from the team, and that's where it starts off. Feanor, with the added invulnerability of the armor, can just go to town with the blade, finds the double Cloud 1 on the back, and there's the dash reset at 99 to 0. They get the win, but now they've got to play this pixel perfect to win out the submap.
And for them, Dreadlords in that last fight, I really appreciate the patience that they used for some of their ultimates, right? Because Pure Irish definitely could have fluxed if he thought that fight needed to be won right then and there, but they don't, and they're able to keep it for this next fight, so they have something to stop the bleeding, and their ultimate economy isn't completely in the dumpster, because Morningstars is coming back, and their ultimate economy is now in the advantage here, pushing through with that supercharger. A lot of amplification going to be available for Morningstars here in this fight. They can play it slowly. They have the time. They just need to find their perfect engage.
This is like a spicy amplification matrix from Source covers Morningstars as they try and make the rotation into the structure on the right-hand side. Not going to find too much value, but does buy them just that little more time on the point. And there's the flux to start things off now for Morningstars. Won't find too much, but Shikari with the follow-through finds the dash. Pure Irish, Cloud, Arca, all down in the blink of an eye. And Morningstars looking to round out this fight and potentially take the entire sub-map.
Morningstars are going to take the first map in what I would call, Phil, what I would call an upset already from what I just saw in that first map. Morningstars looking so much better than we initially had thought they was. I mean, this is a team that has lost the first 2 matchups, and we thought Dreadlords, the way that they've looked previously, they were going to take this relatively easily, but now they're in a position where their contenders and their contenders' life could be on the line here.
It really could. You know, I spent some time this morning writing a big, long article about who I thought was going to win this and what they had to do. And in none of my figuring did I have Morningstars even have Dreadlords giving up a single map to Morningstars. So this is really worrying for Dreadlords. And you've got to wonder what's gone wrong here, because this is not the team that we saw playing yesterday. This is looking very, very shaky from them. And I wonder if maybe they're in their heads here.
I wonder if that the pressure, again, might be something that obviously could play a factor here, because this is almost a must-win scenario for them, because if tomorrow, then they would have to play Vox and Healy, and they'd be down, and then it would be a map differential type of thing, because then they'd have to be 2-2. It's a very difficult situation right now for the Dreadlords where they are at, and I wonder if now they maybe move over towards the dive composition, because we talked about that a little bit, where they do have a dive composition in their back pocket that has looked a little bit better. Especially, I mean, based on what I saw in the VODs, their dive looks a lot better than what I just saw them play for the Genji poke. The Genji poke did not look great for them whatsoever. I mean, Morningstars, just by the way that they were comboing their dynamites and their halts with the, with the Genji dash rather as well, it just looked so much more clean from Morningstars than it did for Dreadlords. And for Dreadlords, I'm a little bit worried for them right now.
They've really got to find some extra gas in the tank if they want to take this to the map winner. They're already going to have to play another 2 maps to take the W, and we're loading into our next one just now. Looks like we're going to be going to Route 66, which we did see Dreadlords play yesterday, and they played this very well against what was quite an unusual setup for the opposing team on defense, holding all the way back on that furthest ledge, past Big O's. They found a way to make that dive work, that competition. So we know that Dreadlords have this ability to outthink and to adapt. So I really want to see them bring it out here, because it was just so lackluster and so predictable in the last round that, Kenobi, I want my match. I want this to be a close one. I don't want Morningstars just to ruffle stomp them.
Yeah, I think you actually hit a really good point, is that it looked a little bit shaky in the sense that Morningstars were playing the aggressor, right? They were being more proactive with a lot of their ultimate choices. It seemed like Dreadlords were just waiting, standing on ceremony for the perfect moment, whereas Morningstars were just like, okay, we're just going to go in, we're going to win this fight, we have an ultimate that we can use and play aggressively and force them onto the back foot. I really liked what I saw from Morningstars and just their proactivity rather than Dreadlords' reactivity. And now this is what I expected from Dreadlords a little bit more, is dive, especially on this map where you can play the dive and it does have a little bit more value with the high grounds that you can jump around with that Winston. I think this offers a little bit more to them. Morningstars, though, Phil, we do have to mention that they do have an anti-dive composition in their back pocket. And when that comes out, how is Dreadlords going to react? That's what I'm going to be looking out for.
Well, here's the thing, though. If Dreadlords can make this work out on that first push, we're not going to see that anti-dive until right towards the end of this, given that they're set up on Big Earl. So not much chance of a recontest by holding this far back. This is all going to hinge on Feanor, though. And Feanor has had kind of a rocky Sombra, one really good game, one really poor game. He needs to set this up perfectly and get this EMP quickly if he wants to make this happen. So far, no real engagement from either team, though.
They're just playing it very slow, waiting to see if Feanor can get into the backline, maybe get a hack onto someone like the Sigma, get a hack onto the Baptiste as well, but they're still pushing carts, so they are gaining some advantage here, Phil, just by the virtue of sitting on this card and sitting on this payload.
this is not the contest that I was expecting from Morningstars. You can contest this cart by standing on the edge. Instead, they're opting just to let it wrap around. Feynor will get the hack through onto Shikari, but Shikari already getting close to 50% ready on this ultimate. And with the dash through onto Source, that's just that little bit closer. Feynor, though, still lacking down at 30%. Kukubao on the low ground, up onto the high ground again, sadly making themselves a target for Feynor, who takes them out of the fight. And there's the hack through onto Shikari, who is getting so close to this Dragon Blade. He's not going to need it here, because whilst the distraction of Shikari on the ground was working out, the rest of the team were able to capitalize, surround, and take out the Dreadlords.
An absolutely insane halt there from Cookie. Knows that everyone is clumped up in that area. Pure Irish doesn't have the defense matrix ready to eat that. And then a nice halt right into a Dragon Slice from the Genji, which gets him about 60, almost gets him towards that 60% towards that ultimate, and then farms the rest of the Dragon Blade at the end of the fight. So Dragon Blade available now for Morningstars. Nothing on Dreadlords can stop it besides Feynor getting a hack or getting this EMP.
You know, we went from watching Morningstars being the aggressors of the previous map to being really passive but incredibly defensive here. They've not given up a centimetre of control of this high ground until they absolutely have to. This is where the rubber's going to meet the road, though. Shikari with the blade out, finds the DMX, finds the kill onto Cloud, looking for a little more value, but will get hacked out. But it is enough for them to secure the defense here.
Oh, no.
Pulse bomb out from Arca early into the waiting kinetic grasp of WeQ. Source finds one on the back end of the fight, but that is as far as that one goes.
Phil, Dreadlords committed ults to that. They committed ults. They committed the pulse bomb. They committed the coalescence as well, and the primal rage in a fight that was almost surely lost for them. I don't know about that decision whatsoever, because Morningstar's now in the advantage completely when it comes to that ultimate economy. Feynor has to hit a huge EMP, or this fight's going to be a disaster.
Oh, hopefully they don't commit it. They do commit it, and they interrupt the gravitic flux, so there's no kills on the back of the flux, but it won't be enough to save Task, who falls down incredibly early. So Feynor, having spent nearly 2 minutes generating that EMP, finds almost no value with it, and now it's got to be panic stations for Dreadlords. They've not got much time.
Only 1 minute left is all they've got, Phil, and they're diving into a supercharger, which is one of those ultimates that is the hardest thing to dive into. Just the damage amplification is going to be so much from them, and this is looking dastardly for them. I don't think they are going to have any chance unless the sound barrier is huge from Cloud to win this, or Pure Irish with a huge bomb.
It'll be supercharged to start things off, and a massive hold and a lot of follow-through damage takes Task out of the fight. We need a hard, fast reset here from Dreadlords to give them one more round through this. There's the hack. It looks like we're not going to get it. We're going to attempt to stall this out that little bit longer. Feynor TPing out of the fight for now. Under 20 seconds remaining, and Pure Irish is only just going to be respawning with 10 seconds on the clock.
This is the last chance saloon for Dreadlords here, or else they're going to get full held. Dragon Blade available for Shikari. Luckily enough for Dreadlords, support ultimates are available to negate the damage coming out from this blade.
There's the tag onto the cart from Task. Pure Irish will have the self-destruct here, but a lot of shields to find value through that. Shikari with the blade ready to go, and here's the primal rage from Task, looking to just disrupt them, keep them out of the range of the cart for now, but the self-destruct goes wide. They were banking on kills from that, and they can't find them. Sound barrier wasn't enough to save Cloud, and Shikari goes fishing with the sword. Can't find too much. The sound barrier from Cloud enough to keep the rest of his team alive. Big numbers advantage now for Morningstars, especially with that Bob on the field. The whip shot takes Arca out, and that is it. We're going to see a last few contests here on the cart, but we're not getting anywhere close to a full 6-man recontest here, and Dreadlords held before point A.
Dreadlords, I mean, coming in like a house, or well, Morningstar's coming in like a house of fire there, Phil, and I mean, we're about to eat a lot of crow. A lot of it.
A lot of feathers in our teeth.
Yeah, it is going to be. I mean, it is still holdable. I mean, obviously you can get the fuller hold. It is a possibility, but the way that Dreadlords are playing, and just the sacking of their ultimate economy, Task is dying first every single fight. It feels like it just doesn't look as coordinated as as crispy as I'm used to seeing the dives from Dreadlord. This doesn't seem like the same team. Something has happened to them. I don't know what it is, but it is not the same team that we've been seeing in these past couple of days in Contenders Trials.
And I'm kind of happy that we got Feynor back on the Genji here, because honestly, Sombra just was not having the impact that you really want your Sombra to be having. And this is, it's almost like every other match that I get to see Feanor, he gets either the bad Sombra or the good Sombra. And I feel like the entirety of this composition depends on which pocket he reaches into and which Sombra he comes out in. Hopefully on the Genji you have a little more luck here.
It's just a coin flip basically is what you're telling me there. It's either
like.
Yeah, it's the good Sombra or the bad Sombra. Sombra is in a little bit of a bad position, I would say, currently in this meta, so it is difficult, but that EMP, I mean, got realistically no value when it came out, and I didn't see any insane hacks that he was getting to really negate anything coming out from the Morningstar's composition, so they're going back to what is the standard meta currently with the Genji poke, and if it's anything like control, Phil, I'm worried for Dreadlords' sake.
Me too, and honestly, given that they're holding all the way back on big O's, I understand the power that this defensive position has, but you're giving up so much space, you are basically almost guaranteeing yourself one lost team fight. If you lose this first team fight, that's it, over and done. You've given up the entirety of points. Still, plenty of time available, plenty of space available here for the Dreadlords. We'll see Morningstar start to make a rotation up onto the high ground, and in fact, in comes Kuki up slow and steady with the Orisa onto the high ground, takes a huge amount of space, takes over the defensive positioning, and knocks Task out of the equation. Now only 5 of the Dreadlords left in the fight, and they are playing incredibly split right now, and as Source and Arca goes down, it looks like that big old servant of Crow is on its way to us, Kenobi, because I don't see the Dreadlords putting much more of a hold on this.
They get one last chance here because of how slow the card is going to move here, Phil. Task is going to come back, going to be able to touch, but as you mentioned, Dragon Blade available. Shikari can just slice and dice through the enemy team and win this fight just like that.
Oh, wow, what a
whip
coach
shot.
shotgun. Almost gets them out of the way, but Task, whilst boot back, takes a huge amount of damage. We'll get the contest going, but now it is going to be 5v6, and Feanor pulls out the blade and gets a mouthful of TNT for his trouble, and the rest of Morningstars are going to clean up, and oh boy, Kenobi, who saw this one coming?
Certainly not us.
No,
neither of
not at
us
all.
saw this coming. Not at all. Morningstars have to get to play spoiler against Dreadlords, and my goodness, it was just a complete and utter annihilation for those first two maps. This feels like it ended so quickly, and this is not the Dreadlords that we had seen previous. This is a completely different Dreadlords, and also a completely different Morningstars, if I'm being honest. This is just... what happened to Dreadlords?
It's really difficult to say. You know, it's one of these situations where you almost want to be interviewing a player from the losing side to figure out what exactly went wrong. We are going to get to interview somebody from the winning side to figure out where they found all this extra momentum from, given what we've seen from them previously. So looking forward to figuring out who it is we're going to get to talk to. But yeah, Dreadlords just almost didn't show up today. It wasn't even particularly close. Morningstars kind of made that look easy.
Very easy. You full hold on. You won 2-0 on control. You full hold them on Route 66, and you. I mean, to be honest as well, the rotation that they made from Morningstars to go on to around the back of the point on top of the girls, I actually think that's so smart because they know they just have to get kills. They don't have to push the cart really. If they get a couple of kills in that area, even if they trade, they still have respawn advantage. So I think the way that Morningstars is playing was just so smart in general that Dreadlords, I think, they just got shell-shocked. They didn't look like they had gotten into the server at all.
It's really unfortunate, but I can understand the surprise of suddenly turning around and finding the enemy Orisa fortified, clomping her way up the stairs towards you. Might be a little bit of a surprise.
Little bit. No one expects the charging Orisa from behind. Like, no one expects the flanking Orisa. No one expects the flanking Ashe, things like that. I mean, but all credit, again, to Morningstars. They really didn't have anything to play for, Phil. That's the other thing, is they already have to go to trials next month. They had nothing to play for here besides their pride. They take a very clean 2-0 against Dreadlords and play spoiler against their chances at getting into Contenders.
It's certainly a lot harder for Dreadlords to make that through, but it looks like we just about have our interview ready to go. And speaking of fortified Orisas clomping their way up the stairs, looks like we're going to be getting to talk to Kuki here just as soon as we've got them into our lobby. And in fact, speak of the devil, Kuki, hi, welcome,
hi.
Congratulations. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but that was a bit of an upset from you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you. It definitely was like.
Oh, good. It's not just us. It's you
Okay,
were surprised by
okay,
this too.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely surprised as well.
So talk us through what happened there, because you know the predictions were in favor of Dreadlords here. What went right for you? What went wrong for those guys?
Honestly, I think our initial nervousness was gone. Like, we had 5 people, we never played trials before, and we were like super nervous, not performing like we were in scrims, for example. And like yesterday, Cuckoo Bow, like he told to us that we should stop playing like we're scared. Like we should actually just play our game, and that helped a lot. I feel like we played our game today, and we played a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looked like it there when we were watching you guys. I mean, we were shocked in the first 2-0, and then the full hold on 66 as well. Can you talk us a little bit through the comms that were going through when you guys were full holding, and then when you make that rotation up on top of the girls behind them, what was going through the mind of you guys at that time?
Like we were trying to keep us calm all the time. Like some people scream for a few seconds sometimes, and then others said, "Okay, calm down, guys. It's not won yet." And like when we did that rotation, like we did that in scrims before. We practiced that, and like we abused that they had like split angles, and we wanted to take the top like 6 against 3 basically. And that's basically what got us like a super good position.
Great. So that was a really stand-up performance. We're still recovering from the shell shock, Cookie, but once again, congratulations. Take this time to go and celebrate with your new teammates, and hopefully we'll see an even stronger performance for you when we get back into next month's Contenders trials. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how much extra time in the oven can improve you guys. Anything you'd like to say, anyone you'd like to thank before we say goodbye and throw it to a break?
Shout out to my teammates and all my German friends, Edis, Refit, and the others. They were always supporting me while I was feeling like down and scared of playing Contenders trials for the first time. So,
hey, I mean, your halts are nuts. So like, don't be scared anymore. You had some nutty halts. You had some really good halts there. I'm sure Hikari was like, ooh, I can get 60% off of my pay every single time.
Thank you, man.
Well, thank you again, Cookie, for playing today and for coming to talk to us. And guys watching at home, we're going to throw it to a short break when we get our next team into the lobby. But please don't go too far, because we're going to be back with Sheer Cold against Raw in hopefully just a few minutes.